The big meeting room was full of noise and colors. Ambassador Park Jae-woo sat at the long table with beings from many different worlds. Some looked like big insects with shiny wings. Others had skin that looked like water moving. Some were made of crystal that caught the light. All of them were members of the Galactic Council. Jae-woo smiled as she watched them talk and argue. Earth had been part of this council for 150 years. It was a long time. In that time, humans had become very important to how the council worked. Across the room, Captain Lee Hannah spoke with a tall creature from the Vormund world. The creature's crystal body sparkled as it thanked Hannah for fixing their broken space station last month. Hannah just nodded. It was her job. That was what humans did. They fix things. They help. In another corner, Dr. Choi Juno checked his data pad. He had just returned from a sick colony on the edge of council space. Many aliens there had a bad sickness. Juno and his team stayed for 3 months. They worked day and night. They saved thousands of lives. Now he was back for just 2 days before going to another emergency. This was normal for humans. They ran the rescue stations in deep space. When ships broke down far from home, humans came to help. When children needed teachers, humans came to teach. When fights happened between different worlds, humans helped them talk and find peace. Jae-woo thought about all of this as the meeting started. Humans were everywhere in council space. They kept the emergency networks running. They staffed the medical centers on dangerous worlds. They maintained the communication systems that let all these different worlds talk to each other. Without humans, many things would stop working. But something bothered Jae-woo. She had been Earth's ambassador for 5 years now. In that time, she noticed a pattern. When humans suggested new ideas in meetings, the council often said no. When humans solved big problems, other species took credit for it. When humans worked hard and saved lives, the council barely said thank you. Last week, a human engineer named Kim Doyen designed a new type of engine. It would make space travel faster and safer. But when Doyen presented it to the council, they ignored him. 3 days later, a Kreval engineer showed the same design. He said it was his idea. The council loved it. They gave him an award. Jae-woo said nothing. She kept quiet. That was what Earth told her to do. Don't make trouble. Keep helping. Keep working. Maybe one day the council would really see humans as equals. More humans arrived for the meeting. Engineer Nam Soo-jin came from the asteroid mining colonies. She had spent 6 months teaching alien miners how to work safely. Teacher Yoon Heron arrived from the Intercultural Academy. She taught students from 15 different worlds. They all loved her classes. Medical researcher Kang Mi-ho came from his lab. He was working on new medicines that would help many different species. They all sat together at the human section of the table. It was smaller than the sections for other council members. Even though humans did more work than most species, they had less space and less respect. The council president, a large reptile creature named Thorax, started the meeting. He talked about trade and laws and problems between worlds. He never mentioned all the humans working right now across council space. He never thanked the human rescue team that saved his nephew's ship last month. He never noticed the human-made systems that kept this very building running. After the meeting, Jae-woo walked through the council building with Dr. Juno. "Do you ever feel like they don't really see us?" she asked quietly. Juno looked tired. He had seen too many sick people. He had worked too many long days. "I try not to think about it," he said. "We do the work because it's right. Because people need help. Not because we want thanks." Jae-woo knew he was right. But it still hurt. Earth sent its best people to help the council. Earth spent money and resources. Earth gave and gave and gave. And the council just expected it. They thought it was normal. They thought humans would always be there to fix things and help and work hard. What the council didn't understand was that humans also remembered everything. They remembered every insult. Every time they were ignored. Every time their work was stolen. Every time they were treated as less important. Jae-woo stood at the window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human doctors were fighting diseases. Human engineers were fixing broken stations. Human teachers were helping alien children learn. Human peacekeepers were stopping wars. And here in the council building, no one seemed to care very much. They just expected humans to keep doing everything. Forever. The emergency call came at midnight. Ambassador Park Jae-woo woke up to see her screen flashing red. A Kreval colony was dying. Their food had run out. Their crops had failed. Thousands of insectoid beings were starving. Dr. Choi Juno got the same call. So did Captain Lee Hannah and 50 other humans across council space. They all moved fast. Within 6 hours, human ships were flying toward the Kreval colony with food, medicine, and farming equipment. When they arrived, the colony looked terrible. The Kreval people were weak and sick. Their children were crying. Juno and his medical team started helping right away. They gave medicine and food. They checked everyone for sickness. Captain Hannah and the engineers looked at the failed crops. They found the problem quickly. The soil was sick. It needed special treatment. The Kreval had been using the wrong farming method for years. It had slowly killed their land. Engineer Kim Doyen knew how to fix it. He had studied farming on many different worlds. He worked with his team day and night. They used Earth technology and methods that the Council had never approved. But people were dying. There was no time to wait for permission. In 3 weeks the colony was saved. The Kreval people were healthy again. New crops were growing. Children were laughing and playing. The colony leader thanked the humans with tears in his eyes. Everything seemed good. Then the message came from the Kreval Dominion government. They were angry. Very angry. They said humans had committed cultural contamination. They said humans had used unauthorized methods. They said humans had no right to change Kreval farming traditions. They wanted the Council to punish Earth. Jiwa couldn't believe it. Humans had saved thousands of lives. And now Earth was in trouble for it? 2 weeks later, she stood in the Council chamber. But this time was different. This wasn't a normal meeting. This was a trial. Earth's trial. Chancellor Thorax sat high above everyone. His reptilian face showed no emotion. Around the room, representatives from dozens of worlds watched. Some looked uncomfortable. Most looked curious. A few looked happy to see humans in trouble. Earth has been accused of serious violations, Thorax announced. His voice echoed through the chamber. The Kreval Dominion demands action. We will vote on Earth's continued membership in this council. Jiwa felt her heart sink. A vote? After 150 years of service? After everything humans had done? The Kreval representative spoke first. He was a large insect creature with a voice like breaking glass. Humans are dangerous, he said. They think they know better than everyone. They don't respect our ways. They force their ideas on us. Jiwa wanted to scream. They had saved his people. But she stayed calm. She waited for her turn to speak. One by one, other species spoke against Earth. The Sorens said humans were too emotional. The Vormans said humans were too unpredictable. The Thexari said humans were too individualistic. Each species found something wrong with humanity. Some species tried to defend Earth. The Shintari remembered when human doctors saved their world from a plague. They spoke about human kindness and skill. But their voices were few and quiet. Finally, Jiwa was allowed to speak. She walked to the center of the chamber. She looked at all the faces watching her. Some she recognized. She had worked with many of these beings. She had helped many of them. She took a deep breath and began. For 150 years, Earth has served this council faithfully, she said. Her voice was clear and strong. Let me remind you what humans do for this council. She pulled up data on the big screen. Numbers and facts appeared. Humans run 37 rescue stations in deep space. We have saved over 10,000 ships in the last year alone. We maintain emergency response networks across 50 star systems. More data appeared. Human doctors staff medical facilities on 12 worlds. We teach at your academies. We mediate your disputes. When the Vormund and Sorens were at war 3 years ago, human peacekeepers stopped it. When the Thexari plague started, human scientists found the cure. She looked directly at the Kreval representative. Last month we saved your colony. We saved thousands of your people. And now you punish us for it? The chamber was quiet. Jiwa continued. Every day humans work across council space. We fix what others can't fix. We help when others won't help. We go to dangerous places. We work long hours. We ask for nothing but respect and fair treatment. She paused. Her voice became softer but sadder. Is that too much to ask? For a moment she thought maybe they understood. Maybe they would see what humans really meant to the council. Then Thorax called for the vote. The lights dimmed. Each representative pressed a button. Green for yes, humans could stay. Red for no, humans must leave. Yellow for no opinion. The votes appeared on the screen one by one. Red, red, green, red, yellow, green, red, red. Jiwa watched the numbers climb. Her hands shook slightly. Beside her, Dr. Juno stood silent and still. When the final vote appeared, the room was completely quiet. 34 red votes. 12 green. 8 yellow. Earth had lost. The council has decided, Thorax announced. Earth is placed on provisional status. You lose voting rights. You will have oversight committees watching your every action. You must submit reports every 3 months to justify your continued membership. The chamber filled with noise. Some species were celebrating. Others looked shocked. The Shintari representative had tears in her eyes. Jaiwa stood completely still. She felt numb. This was how the council repaid 150 years of service? With shame and punishment? Everyone expected her to argue, to beg, to promise Earth would do better. That was what species usually did when they lost a vote like this. Instead, Jaiwa smiled. It was a small, calm smile. She bowed slowly to the council. "Thank you for your decision," she said quietly. Her voice was polite. Almost too polite. Then she turned and walked out of the chamber. Her footsteps echoed in the sudden silence. Dr. Juno followed her. Then Captain Hannah. Then all the other humans in the room. They left without another word. In the chamber, Chancellor Thorax felt something strange in his chest. It was almost like fear. The human's calm face bothered him more than any angry words could have. That quiet thank you felt wrong somehow. But he pushed the feeling away. Humans would complain later, he thought. They always did. Every species complained when they lost a vote. What Thorax didn't know was that humans were different. They didn't complain. They didn't beg. They didn't argue. They just quietly made decisions. And Ambassador Park Jaiwu had just made a very big decision. 3 days passed after the vote. Chancellor Thorax expected angry messages from Earth. He expected humans to ask for another chance. He expected them to promise they would follow all the rules. Instead, something strange started happening. On Station 7, a rescue station in deep space, the human crew was packing. Captain Lee Hannah walked through the control room one last time. She had worked here for 8 years. She knew every button and screen. She had saved hundreds of ships from this station. "Transfer complete," said Engineer Nam Soo-jin. "All our protocols are in the system. The Vorman crew that's replacing us can access everything." Hannah nodded. They had spent 2 days writing instructions. Everything was clear and detailed. How to run the scanners. How to respond to emergencies. How to maintain the equipment. The new crew would have all the information they needed. "Station 7, this is Captain Lee Hannah signing off," she said into the communication system. "Good luck to the next crew." Then she and her team boarded their ship and left. The station was now the council's problem. The same thing happened at Station 12. And Station 19. And Station 23. At all 37 human-run rescue stations, the crews were leaving. Quietly. Professionally. No drama. No complaints. On the medical world of Shintar Prime, Dr. Choi Juno closed his clinic. He had worked there for 6 years. He had treated thousands of patients. Many different species came to his clinic because they trusted human doctors. "Dr. Juno, please don't go," said a young Shintari nurse. Her watery eyes were filled with tears. "Who will help the sick people?" Juno felt sad, but his face stayed calm. "The council will send new doctors," he said gently. "I've left all my research notes. All my patient files are organized. Everything the next doctors need is here." But they both knew it wouldn't be the same. Human doctors had a special way of caring. They worked long hours. They tried new treatments. They never gave up on patients. At the Intercultural Academy on Centauri Prime, teacher Yoon Heron said goodbye to her students. Children from 15 different worlds cried as she packed her things. She had taught them for 4 years. She had helped them understand each other's cultures. "Why are you leaving?" asked a small Kreval child. "Did we do something wrong?" "No, sweetheart," Heron said softly. "You did nothing wrong. But Earth has been asked to step back from council activities. So I must go home." 60% of the Academy's teachers were human. By the end of the week they were all gone. The Academy had to close half of its classes. Across council space the same pattern repeated. Human engineers left construction projects. Human mediators stopped attending peace talks. Human traders canceled their shipping contracts. Human scientists closed their research labs. Earth's government sent a formal letter to the council. It was short and polite. Ambassador Park Jaiwu wrote it herself. "Earth will comply with its provisional status by minimizing our presence in council affairs. We will honor all contracts with appropriate notice. We wish the council success in all future endeavors. Respectfully, the people of Earth." That was all. No angry words. No threats. No demands. Just a quiet goodbye. At first, Chancellor Thorax was happy. "See," he told the other council members. "Humans were never truly committed to us. They leave at the first sign of difficulty. We're better off without them." Many council members agreed. They felt proud. They had put humans in their place. But then things started to go wrong. A plague broke out on Shintar Prime, the same world where Dr. Juno used to work. The new doctors didn't know what to do. They tried the standard treatments but nothing worked. The sickness spread fast. In 3 weeks it killed 5,000 people. Dr. Juno would have stopped it in days. He had dealt with this exact plague before. But Juno was back on Earth now. The council didn't call him for help. They were too proud. On Vorman Station 7, a mining ship sent a distress call. They were trapped in an asteroid field. Their engines were dying. 50 miners were on board. The Vorman rescue crew tried to reach them. But they made mistakes. They didn't know the human protocols. They didn't understand the equipment properly. By the time they reached the ship, 15 miners were dead. Captain Hannah had rescued dozens of ships from that same asteroid field. She knew exactly what to do. But Hannah was gone. 2 species that had been arguing for months asked for a mediator. Usually, humans helped them talk through their problems. But all the human mediators had left. The council sent a Soren mediator instead. The Soren was intelligent but impatient. He didn't listen carefully like humans did. He didn't help the species find common ground. Instead, the argument got worse. Within days, the 2 species broke off all contact with each other. Trade between them stopped. The communication network started having problems. Small glitches at first, then bigger ones. Messages got delayed. Some didn't arrive at all. The network was complicated. Humans had built it and maintained it for 80 years. They understood all its little quirks and problems. The council's technicians tried to fix it. They followed the instructions the humans had left. But the instructions couldn't teach them everything. Some knowledge came from experience. From working with the system every day for years. 3 months after the humans left, the council was struggling. Emergency response times had tripled. Medical facilities on frontier worlds were overwhelmed. The academy was barely functioning. Trade routes were less efficient. Small conflicts were becoming bigger problems. Chancellor Thorax still refused to admit there was a crisis. "We're just adapting," he said. "Give it time. We'll manage without humans." But the other council members were starting to worry. Some of them remembered all the times humans had helped them. All the problems humans had solved. All the lives humans had saved. The Shintari representative stood up in a meeting. "We made a mistake," she said clearly. "Humans were the heart of this council. And we cut out our own heart." Thorax glared at her. "Humans were servants. Nothing more." "No," she replied. "Humans were partners. And we treated them terribly." That night, the Shintari government made a decision. They broke away from the council completely. They opened private communication with Earth. Within a week, human doctors were returning to Shintar Prime. But only to help the Shintari. Not the council. Other species watched this carefully. Some began to think about doing the same thing. The council was starting to fall apart. And the humans had never said a single angry word. They had just quietly walked away. Sometimes silence speaks louder than shouting. 6 months had passed since the humans left. The council chamber looked the same as always, but everything felt different. Chancellor Thorax sat in his high seat and looked at the chaos below. 3 regional wars were now burning across council space. Small arguments had grown into real fighting. Ships were being destroyed. Colonies were under attack. People were dying. Before humans left, there were always human peacekeepers ready to help. They would fly between the fighting groups. They would talk to both sides. They were patient and calm. They never took sides. Most importantly, both groups always trusted them. Now there were no peacekeepers. The council tried sending Soren soldiers instead. But soldiers weren't mediators. They made things worse. The wars continued. "We need more ships at the border," said the Vormund representative. His crystal body looked dull and tired. "The fighting is spreading." "We don't have enough ships," replied the Thexari representative. "Our trade routes are failing. We can't afford a military operation." This was the 3rd meeting about the wars. Nothing ever got decided. Everyone argued. No one agreed on solutions. Before, humans would have found a way forward. Now the council just talked in circles. The trade network was dying too. For 80 years, human logistics experts had made it work perfectly. They knew the best routes. They understood timing and fuel costs. They could solve problems quickly. Engineer Kim Doyen had designed most of the current system. He had spent 15 years making it faster and cheaper. When he left, he gave the council all his plans and notes. But plans on paper weren't the same as Doyen's brilliant mind solving problems in real time. Now shipments arrived late. Sometimes they went to wrong planets. Costs were rising. Small trading companies were going out of business. The economy was suffering. "My world hasn't received food supplies in 3 weeks," said a small representative from a frontier colony. "Our people are hungry." "The shipment was sent," said the logistics coordinator, a nervous Creval. "I followed all the human protocols exactly." "Then why hasn't it arrived?" the representative demanded. The Creval had no answer. He was trying his best, but he wasn't Kim Doyen. No one was. On the medical world of Thexar 4, another crisis was growing. A new sickness had appeared. It was killing people fast. The local doctors were overwhelmed and scared. They called the council for help. The council sent their best medical team. But this team had never worked together before. They didn't coordinate well. They each wanted to try different treatments. They argued about procedures. 3 weeks passed and hundreds more people died. Finally, one doctor suggested something. "We should look at human medical databases. Maybe they've seen this sickness before." They searched the databases that humans had left behind. They found that Dr. Choi Juno had dealt with this exact sickness 5 years ago. His notes were detailed and clear. "Follow these steps. Use this medicine. Isolate patients this way." The doctors followed Juno's notes exactly. Within days, the sickness was under control. The crisis ended. But it had taken 3 weeks to find the solution. If Juno had been there, it would have taken 3 days. The delay cost hundreds of lives. Stories like this spread across council space. Everywhere people looked, they saw problems that humans used to solve. The Intercultural Academy was barely teaching anyone. Rescue stations were slow and ineffective. Research projects had stopped. Construction projects were delayed. Some species started to panic. "What have we done?" they asked each other. "How did we not see how much humans did for us?" Other species were too proud to admit the mistake. They blamed everyone except themselves. "This is the humans' fault," they said. "They should have trained us better before they left. They should have stayed and helped us transition." But the humans had left perfect instructions. They had done proper handoffs. They had documented everything. The problem wasn't missing information. The problem was that humans had a special combination of skills, dedication, and stubborn determination. You couldn't learn that from a manual. Meanwhile, Earth was doing fine. Actually, better than fine. Humans were thriving. Without council bureaucracy slowing them down, human colonies expanded quickly. New technologies were being developed. Earth's economy was growing. The humans who had worked for the council were now working for Earth. Their skills were being used to help human worlds instead. Earth had also made alliances with grateful species. The Shintari were close friends now. Some Vorman groups who appreciated human help had also made private deals. A few smaller species had quietly reached out. These partnerships were based on respect and mutual benefit, not on taking each other for granted. Captain Lee Hanna was now running Earth's own rescue service. She trained new crews and designed better ships. "It's nice to work without someone always questioning my decisions," she told her team. Dr. Choi Juno opened a research hospital on Earth's largest colony. Scientists from friendly alien species came to work with him. They were making breakthrough discoveries. "We're doing more important work here than I ever did for the council," Juno said. Teacher Yoon Heron started a new academy for human and allied species children. It was smaller than the council academy but more effective. Her students loved learning. "Here I can teach the way I think is best," she smiled. "No council committees telling me what I can and can't say." Earth wasn't angry at the council. Humans had simply moved on. They were building something new. Something better. Back in council space, desperation was growing. The council's authority was crumbling. More species were considering leaving. Some were already in secret talks with Earth. Chancellor Thorax called an emergency private meeting. Only his closest advisors attended. "We need to discuss the human situation," he said quietly. For the first time his voice had doubt in it. "Should we ask them to come back?" suggested one advisor carefully. "Absolutely not," Thorax roared. But his anger sounded hollow. Everyone in the room knew the truth. The council needed humans far more than humans needed the council. Then the worst news came. A massive spatial anomaly had appeared near the council's core systems. Space itself was tearing apart. Scientists said it would destroy a dozen star systems within months. Billions of lives were at risk. The council's best scientists studied the problem. They argued about solutions. Days passed. Then weeks. No one could agree on what to do. Finally, an old Vorman scientist spoke up. "This requires exactly the kind of coordination, engineering skill, and fearless execution that humans specialized in," he said sadly. Without them, I'm not sure we can stop this. The chamber fell completely silent. Everyone knew he was right. Chancellor Thorax closed his eyes. He had been so proud. So certain that humans weren't important. Now his pride might cost billions of lives. He made the decision he had sworn he would never make. Prepare a ship, he said quietly. I will go to Earth myself. The journey to Earth felt long for Chancellor Thorax. He sat in his ship surrounded by his advisors. They were preparing speeches, planning what to say, thinking about what deals to offer. Thorax had never imagined he would make this trip, going to Earth to beg for help. It was humiliating for a proud Soren like himself. But billions of lives depended on stopping the spatial anomaly. He had no choice. We should offer them full membership again, one advisor suggested. Complete voting rights. No oversight committees. We should apologize, said another. Admit we were wrong. Thorax said nothing. His mind was rehearsing different approaches. How do you ask for help from people you treated badly? How do you apologize after such arrogance? As they approached Earth's solar system, something unexpected happened. Their sensors picked up unusual activity. Many ships were moving. Human ships. What are they doing? Thorax asked. The ship's officer checked the readings. They're heading toward the spatial anomaly, Chancellor. A whole fleet of them. Thorax felt confused. But we haven't asked for their help yet. How do they even know about the crisis? Human monitoring stations, sir, the officer explained. They still have sensors watching that region of space. They must have detected the anomaly themselves. When they landed on Earth, Thorax expected to wait, to be made to feel small. That's what he would have done to them. But instead, Earth's president greeted him immediately. President Kong Mincio was a woman with gray hair and calm eyes. She looked at Thorax with neither anger nor joy, just professional courtesy. Chancellor, she said simply, welcome to Earth. President Kong, Thorax began. His prepared speech felt wrong now. We need to talk about the spatial anomaly. I know, she replied. Our ships are already responding to it. Would you like to observe the operation? Thorax was stunned. Already responding? Without being asked? Without negotiations? They took him to a command center. Large screens showed the anomaly and the ships around it. Captain Lee Hanna was coordinating the operation from her flagship. Dr. Choi Juno was there too, with medical teams ready for evacuations. Engineer Kim Doyen was managing the technical teams trying to stabilize the anomaly. But they weren't alone. Shintari ships worked alongside the humans. Some Vorman vessels were there too. Even representatives from smaller species that had become Earth's friends. Thorax watched in silence. The coordination was beautiful. Perfect. Ships moved together like dancers. Everyone knew their role. Communication was clear and fast. Problems were solved immediately. Evacuating Colony 7, Hannah's voice came through the speakers. Medical team standing by. Stabilization field at 60%, reported Doyen. Need more power to the western grid. Shintari ships moving to position, another voice added. Ready to provide additional power. It was everything the council used to be. Everything it should have been. Efficient. Coordinated. Effective. People working together because they respected each other. 3 days later, the anomaly was contained. Space stopped tearing. The star systems were safe. Billions of lives had been saved. Thorax's delegation had done nothing but watch. They were useless observers to human excellence. When it was over, President Kong invited Thorax to a private meeting. They sat in a simple room with just a table and 2 chairs. No advisors. No witnesses. Thorax tried to begin with justifications. The council made some errors in judgment, he started. We perhaps didn't fully appreciate. Kong raised her hand gently. He stopped talking. Chancellor, she said calmly. Let me be clear. We didn't save those star systems for the council. We did it because billions of innocent people live there. Because it was the right thing to do. That's what humans do. Thorax felt shame burn in his chest. Of course. Humans helped because they cared. Not because of politics or credit. We made a terrible mistake, he admitted quietly. All his pride was gone. We took you for granted. We treated you badly. And we've paid the price for it. The council is falling apart without you. Kong nodded. Yes, you did make a mistake. And yes, you are paying for it. Will you return to the council? Thorax asked. His voice was almost pleading. Kong was quiet for a moment. She looked at the Soren Chancellor with steady eyes. No, she said simply. We won't. Please, Thorax said. We need you. Name your terms. Anything you want. You still don't understand, Kong replied gently. This isn't about terms or deals. We didn't leave to punish you. We left because you showed us clearly that we weren't valued, that our work meant nothing to you, that our contributions were just expected, never appreciated. She stood and walked to the window. You taught us an important lesson, Chancellor. Not every relationship is worth maintaining. Sometimes walking away is the healthy choice. But the council will collapse without you, Thorax protested. Perhaps, Kong said. Or perhaps it will learn to function differently. That's not our problem anymore. Then what do we do? He asked desperately. Kong turned to face him. Earth's door is open to individual species who want real partnerships. Partnerships based on mutual respect. Where both sides give and both sides receive. Where contributions are valued, not expected. The council can apply too if it ever learns what respect actually means, she continued. But not today. Today you're not ready. Thorax sat in silence. He understood now. This wasn't about anger. Humans weren't punishing anyone. They had simply decided they deserved better. And they were right. I understand, he said finally. He stood and bowed slightly. Thank you for saving those star systems. And thank you for this lesson. Even though it comes late. Kong bowed back. Safe travels, Chancellor. As Thorax's ship left Earth, he looked back at the blue planet. Somewhere down there, Ambassador Park Jaiwu was tending a garden. She had retired after leaving the council. She spent her days growing vegetables and reading books. She was happy. Free from the stress of representing Earth to people who didn't appreciate her. Free from the burden of being undervalued. She had walked away with dignity. And now she was at peace. Thorax returned to a fractured council. Some species were reaching out to Earth individually, asking for partnerships. Others stubbornly refused to admit their mistake. The council persisted, but it was smaller now. Weaker. Diminished. They had learned too late that taking people for granted guarantees you'll lose them. That silence can be more powerful than anger. That sometimes the strongest thing you can do is simply walk away. In the end, humans didn't need the council to be great. But the council desperately needed humans. And that was a truth too painful for some to accept, but impossible for anyone to deny.